It's time to ham up.
Oh, I gotta really try hard.
Shut it down!
Somehow it's the best.
After the credits.
A Yum Chunks podcast.
Yum Chunks!
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of After the Credits, which is not so greatly named for what we're going to do today, which is talk about a video game. I am Chris, and I am here with a new voice, Aaron. He is an honorary Yum Chunker. So before we get into the topic, which I'm going to keep hidden for now, why don't you tell us just a quick little bit about yourself, Aaron?
Thanks, Chris. Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm been longtime friends of Chris and the rest of the Yum Chunks crew. Avid moviegoer myself, as well as gamer. Really into just generally video games, I guess I would say. And a big Marvel fan and Star Wars fan also.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I've known Aaron for a pretty long time, and the others even longer. So, but I brought him on today to do our second video game recording. This one will be about a series that we both hold pretty dear for whatever reason, which is the Kingdom Hearts series.
That is true.
We will be talking about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yay!
I'm just going to say right off the bat, so we don't have to hold back on anything. Spoiler warnings. We'll be going into plot-heavy spoilers at some point during this. So this is essentially the ending of a saga. So if you're protective of that information, maybe come back after you finish the game. We'd love to have you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so spoilers. Let's start with early first impressions, Aaron. What were your early impressions about the game?
I think overall I liked it. I enjoyed it. For the most part. I mean, the game is fun. The gameplay's fun. I guess I do feel a bit of a letdown after. I'm trying to think of how many years it's been since Kingdom Hearts 2 at this point. I can't remember.
I think it's close to 15 or something.
Close to 15. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I know it's been a long time. It wasn't, or I guess it didn't fully live up to the hype I thought it was going to. But that doesn't mean it was bad. So that'd be that's my overall take of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty along the same lines. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. It's hard not to when you're as big a nerd as I am. But yeah, it let me down in some key categories that we'll get into later. But I think it excelled over a large portion of the other games in the series in other areas.
Yes.
That was a little unexpected. So yeah, let's just get into it. Let's start with more of like the technical side of things. I, for one, think it's a very beautiful game.
Yes, it is. It is fantastic the way it looks. I mean, at first I was kind of like, oh, how are they going to make this work? Because Kingdom Hearts 2 kind of has this very particular art style, and all the other Kingdom Hearts up until this point. And I was like, well, like really rendered, fully awesome HD graphics, are those going to fit these kind of cartoony characters? But it does. It makes it work, and it looks really really beautiful, and I think it's really cool too, the way they kind of change some of the characters throughout the different worlds you visit. Particularly when I'm thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean, Donald and Goofy look more like real live people, even though they're these odd animated figures.
Yeah, I think they were able to do really good things with the Unreal Engine, and. On your note about like them shaping forms in New Worlds, I was impressed by the ones that they did do, like Toy Story, Monsters Inc. and stuff. That was really fun. I found it a little odd, but I guess understandable that there were many worlds where they didn't change form at all, right? Like Tangled and Frozen and all of that stuff, which it would have been difficult considering they're just like pseudo-human anyways.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it felt kind of like half the game you're transforming, half the game you're not transforming. So I was a little let down in that sense. Mm-hmm. Another thing that really impressed me were particle effects and general effects throughout the game, like the magic system and everything, which was actually usable for once in the game. So I was able to notice it more. Like the fire looked fantastic, thunder, all those effects, explosions, all of the effects involved with the special abilities that would happen. Not special abilities. What would you call them? The amusement rides.
Oh, the attraction.
Yeah, the attractions. There it is. The attractions. I really like the way they look, though they didn't really serve too much of a purpose, or not. They served plenty of purpose because they were overpowered.
Yeah,
but they would just randomly appear, and I would just try to avoid using it most of the time because it was a huge time sink. And
I was completely on that same page. I was not the biggest fan of it. Every time I got a new one, I tried it to see, okay, what does this actually do? But it was one of those things where it was like, it felt kind of distracting at times.
Yeah.
Although the attractions themselves look so cool, it was like, oh, wait a second, I'm in this cool fight. Now I'm on this water rapid ride, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on here? It was fine. I get what they were trying to do, trying to shift it up. But yeah, the whole mechanic of it, felt a little, I don't know.
I wish they had just tied those more to the world.
Yeah, actually, that's a good way.
Like maybe the water ride was more attuned to Frozen or something. Or Tangled. The same way, they had the Big Thunder Mountain ride, right? But they only used it, twice? Which was on Olympus, when you were on the mountain, makes sense. And then when you were at the end of the game, end of the world, or the Keyblade Graveyard, and you were in, the desert. That makes, thematical sense in some degree. I would have liked to have seen, more of that come into play throughout the game, where there were bigger, set pieces revolving around them, and it wasn't just something that popped up almost every single time I got into a battle.
Yes.
Oh my god. I kind of just like pressing triangle to activate these, but because then you would have to change using the directional buttons, right? You'd have to go up, down to avoid it and all that stuff. So
yeah, that whole aspect was kind of frustrating, mainly because I actually really liked the form changes, the weapon form changes, the whole idea of it was really neat. It felt a little more fresh and but reminiscent at the same time of some of the stuff they've done in the past.
Like in 2, but with a little bit more control.
Yeah.
Because in 2, right, you would form change into Valor form or whatever the magic form was called, right? Just at random. Well, not at random. There were key things that had to meet for it to happen. But, basically random. You had to work really hard to get it. But this time it was just basically chaining together a combo to swap. So I agree. It really helped the flow of combat. I felt kept it more engaging overall. And
some of the different weapon styles were actually really cool. Like some of the ones I'm thinking particularly like the Toy Story one. I can't remember what the actual weapon's called. And then the Wheel of Fate one, the Pirates one.
Oh, that thing was broken.
that was just definitely the best one.
Once you get that, I don't know. Did you ever get the final Keyblade?
The Ultimate one?
The Ultimate Keyblade?
I never actually got it.
Okay, so besides that, I honestly think the Wheel of Fate was broken.
Yeah,
the freaking the spear alone was really useful, but once you went into the flag mode, the final form of that, it was so completely AoE that there was nothing that could get near you, and you're just flying around the screen automatically. It was ridiculous.
And it felt really cool. But yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was kind of ridiculous. Just like, oh my gosh, there's this weapon, and I'm just gonna own face with, and it did help with crowd control. Which was good, but at the same time, it just felt really overpowered. And it was really helpful, especially in boss fights, when you're just I'm just going to slam you, especially when you're a big boss.
Especially with how bosses move around the field so much.
Oh, yeah.
In the second form, the spear form, it obviously a lot of it was a thrust.
Yeah.
And so it would just thrust you right back into the boss, and you're right back in it. There we go.
Oh, you tried to run away? Too bad.
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm still on your tail. Yeah. No, I agree. I really like that one. Plus, it also just fit thematically kind of with the Pirates world, especially with the final form being a flag, right? Which, the Toy Story one kind of turning into a toy hammer kind of fit that thing. I felt like a couple of the early ones kind of tread on the same ground of each other a little bit too much, so I really didn't use them too much overall. I did like the frozen Keyblade, because it turned into like the claws. I felt that was really cool.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. I like what was the other one I thought I was gonna like? Oh, the Monsters Inc. one too.
Oh,
was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was a powerful Keyblade, so it just made beating the snot out of everything a lot easier.
The one I never really used was the one that would form change into guns. I never really used those.
Oh, I didn't like that one either. It was a cool looking Keyblade. I really like. I thought I was like, oh, this is awesome, and you get it pretty early on, so it feels like, oh, I gotta use this. And then every time I ended up form changing into it, it was one of those things that I was like, I'm not doing very much damage. Yeah. I feel like I'm just dancing around this field. Like, what's going on here? So yeah, I kind of very quickly stopped using that one.
Yeah, and man, did it feel like there were less Keyblades in this one than the other ones?
There was definitely less Keyblades in this one.
Yeah, and it just felt so weird. This will kind of go... Oh, I'll kind of at least go into this a little bit more. I don't know how you felt about it, but it felt... Even though there were about as many Disney Worlds as there normally is, it did feel like a little... I think because of the lack of like the interwoven like Final Fantasy characters and stuff. I don't know. It just felt like there was less of a lot of items throughout the game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It felt like they gave us a lot as far as just the way they changed the worlds. Like they made them like lived in now, which was nice. But yeah, it felt like but then they took away a lot. They took away a lot of Keyblades. Like, and of course, like you said, the Final Fantasy thing, that's a huge gripe I have with this game is unfortunately we didn't get any Final Fantasy characters. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to all of that. But I do kind of just remember in the other Kingdom Hearts games, it's like, well, a lot of Keyblades you got were from Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, well, if you take that out completely, I guess you take out those Keyblades as well. And that was just a little unfortunate. Because some of them were the best Keyblades and some of them looked the coolest. I'm distinctly remembering the one that you get from Leon and 2 was probably one of my favorite looking Keyblades that they had. Also, just really good Keyblade, but that was.
It felt overall the Disney without like that because there's the Kingdom Key,
right,
and then there's like the Ultima Keyblade, right?
Yeah.
But everything else is kind of Disney based past that. So for the most part, the keys have a semi-Disney similar feel to themselves, and they don't. There's not as many of like those overly intricate looking ones like the Ultimate Keyblade and things. And I felt that was kind of lacking, maybe a little disappointing to some degree.
Yeah, and I agree too. It's just that was one of the things I like to do was go find these secret Keyblades, go find the hidden Keyblades and do them. And I know you could unlock various ones by completing the little what are they called? The retro game things that you did.
Those things. Those things. I'll have things to say about that later.
I will as well. And then you got one from leveling up the restaurant all the way. So those were the other aspects of gathering Keyblades that you wouldn't just get from completing the worlds. But I never felt like I was really even like dying for those Keyblades because I got the restaurant one, but it was all right. It wasn't as good as Wheel of Fate, of course. And
what is?
I know exactly. And then I never. I could not stand playing those stinking retro games.
Yeah. But I mean, you haven't gotten it yet. But the Ultima Keyblade, man, that thing, it's cool. It's definitely really flashy and cool and everything. But I got it before I did the final secret boss. And I was like, this is the final boss of the game. It's essentially the last objective for me to do. I should have this Keyblade for something, I guess, right? And so I was like, plus I'm playing on Proud mode, so yeah, sure. I got the Keyblade. I was basically able to button mash through that fight because of it, because of how that Keyblade works. It just... You basically, if you imagine like final form in Kingdom Hearts 2, you're basically just teleporting everywhere, and it's like, okay, I'm basically untouchable, and I'm just knocking you around a lot, and the abilities with it in general, it's only got one form change, but its shot lock command was also really good.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but yeah, man. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
It just takes all of the gameplay out of the game.
It's like, I don't have to try anymore.
Yeah. I'm just going to look away here. Just keep pressing X. Good things will still happen. But yeah, so, I mean, overall, those effects relating to that, I think the effects for the worlds... Yeah. You kind of brought up Pirate World earlier, right? Yeah. I thought it wasn't the greatest looking thing in the world, but it was still pretty impressive. Right. The kind of translation of the live action characters into this system where they could share a world with Sora and the rest of the Disney characters and everything. Like I wasn't by any means fooled by Captain Jack or anything like that. Right. But it's still, they were very detailed and they looked pretty good. And I think the same could be said for most of the Disney worlds. The theme changing and everything was well translated into the game. Like Toy Story, it looked really much like a Toy Story world, whereas the Tangled and Frozen universes, they looked very much like those. So I thought they did a really good job of creating the worlds around those, as well as the characters that you find in them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, and to that point too, the Monsters Inc. world was really cool. It felt like, all the Disney Pixar movies that are actually 3D animated that they went ahead and put in this one felt like you did step into the world of the movie that you've watched. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really cool. That was a smart choice for them. And then when you did something like go to Olympus, I guess. I don't remember exactly what they called it this time. It felt a little weird because you're like, oh, wait a second, this is really like fully beautifully rendered, and none of these characters were ever meant to look like this. And it's cool that they upgraded all the graphics.
Yeah,
and
some of the Disney movies had to lose a little bit of their flair or unique art style to translate to the 3D worlds, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think necessarily what my favorite one would have been.
Your favorite world?
Yeah, in terms of like graphics and everything. I think in terms of plot it would be probably different.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call. Olympus was good.
Yeah.
I was pretty let down by Twilight Town and its like 2 rooms.
Oh, I was too. I was like, oh great, it felt like a big city and we're gonna walk around this whole city. No, you can go to these 2 places and that's it.
Way smaller than it was in Kingdom Hearts 2, which
I know.
I think is why it felt kind of like a letdown. But,
yeah, we couldn't go to places we had previously been, so it just felt like, wait, what?
I think Toy Story would probably be one of my favorites. Also, no, I think my favorite still would have to be Pirates. Yeah. I think it would have to be Pirates. I mean, they basically just took Assassin's Creed Black Flag and they made like a small version of that. Like, I know. And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm down with that. That game, its basic concept was good. I'm all right with that. Ship battles, kind of sailing the open seas. I get in exploring the islands. Mm-hmm. That was another thing I think this game excelled at over all the other ones was the exploration on the maps. I think there was a certain verticality to a lot of the maps that wasn't there before. That was probably aided through the Unreal Engine versus their proprietary engine that they were using. And things like Black Flag, Toy Story World, it felt like there was a good amount of like places to hide treasure chests and things like that, and just explore in general. That didn't feel like they were hiding something in like a really like awkward nook in the map, right? Like, no wonder I would miss this. It's friggin' got like an environment cutting half of it off or something.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, they did a much better job with the worlds this time, and like you said, I think it really has to attribute to the Unreal Engine that they used. And I found myself wanting to explore a lot more in this game and wanting to go look for things. In past games, when you start going exploring, you're really going to look for treasure. It's not like I'm just going to look at this world because I was like, these worlds are kind of eh. But now it's like, no, I really want to go see what these worlds look like because they're really interesting and engaging, and there's lots to see. And
I mean, going back to Toy Story, right? Going into the mall area, the video game store, right? Just going into the video game store. I spent a good amount of time looking at this whatever goofy names they were naming games at the time, right? And I think it was the same thing in like the Toy Story. Like they had the Dissidia figures in there, right?
That was
they
cool.
had all this like interesting stuff that was really interesting and engaging. Now, not every map was like that, right? There were some bland-ish levels, like the Frozen one
world
was just ice, right?
Just
ice and cliffs. Ice and cliffs.
I found myself actually getting lost sometimes. Like, wait, am I going up this hill right now, or am I going down it? Like, everything looks the same. But yeah, I agree about the Toy Story world. I went and just looked at every Dissidia character I could and just tried to pinpoint all of them because I was like, this is fantastic. And it was almost to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm looking at this. Stop trying to fight me. Heartless over here.
Not right now.
Let me just look at things.
I'll come back for you. Just leave me alone.
Just leave me alone for now. Also, speaking about the Toy Story world, I thought about this. The little battle suit things that you would hop into.
Yeah, that was a cool little mechanic that they added in.
Those are a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. I mean, a little side note, I guess, though, gripe with the game that I had, that hopefully this might be addressed with an upcoming patch, is difficulty. Mm-hmm. I found... And the reason I bring this up is because the robots, I know, like, they were so overpowered once you were in them, it was pretty hard to lose or anything. But, man, just even on Proud Mode, it was too easy.
Yeah,
there were too many things that tip the balance in my scales, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing overall.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of my gripes with the game as well, is it just felt like the game was too easy. I wasn't used to the combat, it was not the combat that I'm used to, I guess I would say. Especially with Kingdom Hearts. I remember distinctly thinking of Kingdom Hearts 1 and how awful it was to get through Proud Mode, because that game was really hard.
I always remember the Tarzan world in the first one, just that for some reason that was where I had like some of the most difficulties, was fighting the leopard or whatever that guy's name was.
Oh yeah,
that thing, it would just wreck me.
I know, and it's like I didn't feel like we got any of that in any of the worlds that we were in. And then it felt like when
that kind of like that give and take, right? Like if you think about some of the best fights in the game series, like you think about like Riku in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Hollow Bastion, right? You think of things like fighting Sephiroth, where you can play aggressively, but you also have to play smart, right? You have to play back a little bit. And I don't think once in Kingdom Hearts 3 I had to actually play back.
Yeah, I agree. If I died, it was because of like random chance more than anything. It wasn't because I was, playing too aggressively or just got overwhelmed or anything like that. It was more like, I should be healing right now. Shoot, I'm in the middle of getting hit by this combo. All right, looks like I'm gonna die right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would just be like, I should heal. Let's just see how this plays out.
Let's see if I can make it through.
All right, didn't work.
Yeah, it's like, all right, next time, let's try it again. Actually, speaking of healing, I thought the customization of the AI for Donald and Goofy was a lot better.
Oh yeah.
They actually did what they needed to do half the time. Not all the time, just half the time. But they were useful this time around, it felt like. It didn't feel like I was out there fighting all by myself and just hoping they didn't ruin my day, or I would get lucky and they would heal me, kind of thing.
Yeah, there was a little bit more control too. You could make them kind of more focused on healing, which I think you could do in the past, but it felt like you could do it to a better degree in this one.
Yeah, you could do it so much to a degree that, like, okay, I want you. It kind of reminded me actually of the Gambit system from 12 a bit.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, where it's like 50%. If I hit 50% health, you better heal me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was like, and that was really helpful because it was like, okay, I don't have to worry about managing my own health as much, which made fighting a lot more fun. In general, I mean, I don't mind managing my own heals, but it's one of those things that's like, if you have something dedicated to it, it just is like, all right, I can focus on getting these combos off, I can focus on putting some flair into this, that kind of stuff.
But yeah, all right, back from that side note, back to the worlds. Keyblade, I wanted to like the Keyblade Graveyard but that was just like a group of 3 zones essentially. One battle zone, another little battle zone, and then a little, not even really a maze area. And it was just like, man, I feel like that would have been the place to go all out, right? That would have been the place to wow the Kingdom Hearts fans, because that was something not necessarily Disney related, but more to the Kingdom Hearts side of things, and something that's been built up this whole time. And it's just, I don't know, it just felt kind of underwhelming at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to actually just go explore the world. I wanted to be able to walk around the Keyblade graveyard. I wanted to be able to go see if I can spot Keyblades that I recognize, other stuff like that. And it felt very much like on rails. Like, nope, you're going to go from this battle zone to this battle zone to the maze. Doing quotes here, because it was just like it felt like it was really a set piece for the final battle, and that was it. Unfortunately,
really, that's all it was.
Instead of being like an actual world, like the other worlds were this time around, which was unfortunate, because you're right. It's like this was the only non-Disney thing that they had to offer us this time around. Well, I guess besides Twilight Town, but it still just felt very small, like Twilight Town. So seems like they don't like their own worlds for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. They really went super heavy on Disney and light on everything else.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm forgetting a world. I honestly do. There's Tangle World. There was.
Did we talk Big Hero 6 World yet?
Big Hero 6 World. I like the design to a degree. The city. I felt a little confusing. Like I'd get lost in it at times.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of like a cityscape. But I did like it was different. Right. It was something almost wholly fresh to the series, I think.
Yeah.
So. It was good in that degree, and once again, tall skyscrapers, so a very vertical element to it. And it really used that element of running up walls and everything like that. So that was, it was enjoyable in that sense. There's that one. There were noticeable missing ones like Nightmare Before Christmas. That's been in most of them. Peter Pan. Man, why do I feel... Okay, so what was the first area? The first area was Tangled, Olympus...
trying to think. I'm just going to run them off in my head. Tangled, Olympus, Monsters, Inc., Frozen... Pirates, Big Hero 6...
Twilight Town. I feel like we're missing one in the first area.
I know. It's like
what an impression! What an impression!
I know. It feels like it didn't leave us very much of an impression. Wait, did we say Toy Story?
No, that was it. Yeah, it was Toy Story. Okay.
So that's all 8 of them then.
Yeah.
I guess that's the weird thing. Is 8 worlds is generally where you're going in Kingdom Hearts. But for some reason, it didn't feel like enough worlds, and I'm not sure exactly why.
So what I think, and this goes a little bit into the plot side of things, so I don't want to go too heavy in it, but so in the previous Kingdom Hearts, correct me if I'm wrong, in the previous Kingdom Hearts, like especially Kingdom Hearts 2, they did a thing where they made you kind of go through each world twice, right? So you would go through it the first time, it would have like a smaller little Disney plot going on, right?
And basically going through the movie.
And then once you got through that stuff, you would go to the next world, but eventually, once the organization plot started to flesh out, it brought you back through those worlds to resolve more of the organization side of things.
Yeah.
Right? And so it felt like it not made the worlds bigger, but made like what was going on those planets seem like more.
Yeah.
So you had a reason to revisit, right? In Kingdom Hearts 3, there is no real reason to revisit. They don't really pull you to revisit ever.
Unless you want to go get those hidden Mickey things.
Yeah, hidden Mickeys. Those were pretty good. I like there were some really clever ones in there. Some tricky ones to find.
Yeah. That aspect, I joke about it, but it was actually kind of fun. It was fun to find them, too. Especially when...
some of them. Yeah, right. Some of them were just, like, right in your face.
You're just like, oh, there's...
Hidden. Hidden is the key word here.
That is not what I would call hidden. But yeah, I completely agree. And then, the ones that were tricky to find were a lot of fun. And then I liked that there was some instant gratification to it. Like, when you found some of them, it's like, oh, great, you got, like, a AP boost, or you got, like, a defense boost. It's like, oh, these are cool. Like, I'm actually getting something right now instead of just some you're working on the easier levels, so you're just trying to unlock the hidden ending or something kind of thing. Those were a fun aspect. But yeah, I found that was like the main reason to go back and revisit worlds or ingredients for the restaurant, which are both actually side quest kind of things. And so, yeah, there was no real point to going back and revisiting worlds for the actual main quest. Though the side quests were fun for the most part, it was just wasn't as story driven as the second one, I guess.
Yeah. I think one of the last things, and more of the technical side, before we get into more of the plot stuff, was the gameplay itself. I actually think this is one of the stronger gameplay ones. I mean, I wish it had been more difficult for sure.
Yeah.
But I think everything that they had offered you felt very expansive, cinematic. Like, it was kind of what I expected from, like, the next step up in Kingdom Hearts, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Being able to do the shot lock commands, just the form changes, the magic actually being useful.
Yeah.
I didn't really use summons that much, but and then the abilities in general. I also felt like there were less abilities, but anyways, and the way you would interact with your team and stuff like that. Certain abilities specifically interacted with your team. I thought that was really good. And then specials that would just pop up while you were fighting, right? Like if you used a low level thunder enough, it would offer you the next level up or something to just like automatically cast stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like it was very fun in a way that wasn't there necessarily before. I don't know. It's hard to describe. I felt like this was maybe because of the engine, like a little bit like floatier and free form. And so it felt more like it looked. Where in Kingdom Hearts 2, it offered you a lot to do, but it couldn't quite deliver on that through just gameplay, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I guess the word I would use is that everything kind of just flows really well. It kind of just moves in a direction, and it feels like you want it to go that direction. And you know, like you were saying with the form changes, with the team up attacks, with obviously magic being useful, all those aspects just kind of felt like you're able to switch quickly, and even the aspect of changing your Keyblade was something you could do mid combat. And I was like, wow,
oh yeah, that's true.
That's something new. That's a new mechanic, and I feel like there's a lot going on there that in a more difficult version of the game could really benefit you. Like, I could find situations where I'd maybe want to switch to a more magic focused or magic heavy Keyblade.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd want to put a more hard hitting Keyblade out, and actually being able to do those kind of switches. And I guess with that flow and with those kind of little nuances that they put in there, like I said, I think it would benefit from more difficult gameplay.
Oh yeah.
Maybe critical mode. Who knows?
Coming soon.
One day we'll get it.
Hopefully, I think the rumor is a month from this recording or so.
Oh, okay.
Let's hope that's true.
I know. I agree. It's like, all right, so we'll play critical, and
yeah. Hopefully, it's not super easy.
Yes. Completely agree.
Yeah,
those. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to touch on as far as the technical aspects go before we get into the plot heavy stuff.
I did like the music.
Oh yeah.
The soundtrack was probably one of my favorites in the series. I can't find it online anywhere. A lot of good renditions of previous songs and such, as well as that stupid Toy Story song that gets stuck in my head for days on end. For some reason, they felt a need to do the full "Let It Go" song in the middle of the game. But we get into that once we get into Frozen World, because I feel like we'll have a lot to say about worlds like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Wait, we gotta say, what about the new intro song?
The new intro song? I actually think I prefer the ending song.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't think twice.
Don't think twice is a better song.
At first, just like if you knew Kingdom Hearts, so maybe you thought about this before and you could answer this. I don't know. If you knew Kingdom Hearts, and you heard those songs before you played the game, like, which one felt more Kingdom Hearts?
Definitely Don't Think Twice.
You think that one? I would say the one that felt more Kingdom Hearts was definitely the opening one.
Really?
Which name I can't remember right now.
Face My Fears.
Yeah, Face My Fears. That one feels like a Kingdom Hearts opening song where like Don't Think Twice, they hadn't really done anything like that.
Yeah.
And so it didn't necessarily, I mean, from the tone of the song, you can kind of piece together kind of where the ending was going. But, but yeah, at the end of the game, once you actually get through it, you're like, oh yeah, actually, the song that I can listen to more is Don't Think Twice over Face My Fears.
Yeah, I guess that would be the case. And what I'm thinking of is with Face My Fears, is it feels so like, probably the Skrillex, but it feels so like clubby and like, I don't know, like.
But I mean, all
like,
of the openings, the 1 and 2 they were basically the club remixes of the songs, right?
Oh wait, wasn't there I thought that was like one of the side games. Like I remember, like Birth by Sleep had like the.
I know 2.8 or 0.2, whatever you want to call it. It had that Ray of Hopes mix, which I actually kind of like.
Yeah, I like that one too.
No, I mean, Simple and Clean had kind of a clubby remix in the beginning of the first Kingdom Hearts versus the ending, and I think the same thing with Sanctuary. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I think overall I like both those songs, but. Don't Think Twice was definitely my favorite of the two.
And then once you get context to it, you're just like, oh, dang it. Yeah, that's a better song.
It's like, dang, so good.
Yeah. All right, so, yeah, if you have any closing thoughts on that stuff, let's move on to the scary part of this conversation, which is the story, the plot, the characters. The worlds. Let's dig in. Where to start? Let's just start with. I guess let's start on a high note. Let's talk about plot wise. What was your favorite world plot wise?
That's a good one. Actually, I will say I really liked the Toy Story world plot wise. I thought it was kind of really interesting because they do bring up this whole question of what sentient toys are and whether or not they have hearts and all that stuff. And so it's like, this kind of feels funny because I feel like I'm having almost a conversation with someone about what Toy Story is, but at the same time, the way they integrate it into the world of Kingdom Hearts is really interesting.
Plus the meta joke, right?
Yeah.
The meta joke with the whole Versus 13 trailer for the game thing. I was like, I don't know if this is meant to be like an actual joke or if it's kind of like Nomura was a little bitter that this thing he spent so much time on just kind of got taken away from him. Like it was really, it was funny. It was funny when it came up because it's like, wait a minute. That's just Noctis, right? And then they make the funny joke, right, about like, oh, you really look like this character. No, I think Riku looks more like him, right? Because obviously Nomura being Square's go-to character designer, right?
Yep.
Everybody looks the same.
Everybody looks the same with slightly different hair.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That was indeed pretty funny. Yeah, I would say Toy Story World, as far as plot goes, had probably my favorite plot. The plot for the world itself, and then in the overall arching storyline, I think that was my favorite one.
Yeah, see, I get torn on this one. So, after thinking about the game and Kairi and Sora's kind of evolution through the game, thinking back on the worlds, I kind of noticed that each world had kind of more of a love-ish theme to what it was getting at, right? Like, maybe I'm thinking too much about it and it's kind of a stretch, but it felt like, like Tangle World, obviously love.
Yeah.
Olympus World, there was a heavy emphasis on Hercules and Meg's relationship, right?
Yeah.
Monsters Inc. was more of like the love between Mike Sully and Boo, right?
Yep.
Like Pirates, they shifted the focus to Will and what's her face's Elizabeth's love, right? Like it felt like every obviously Frozen's a story of love, right? Like it felt like each story came down to the love aspect of those stories, and I felt that was used to aid the overall growth of Kairi and Sora. So I actually find it kind of hard to pick necessarily like a favorite story arc. I felt like in the Tangle world, it was rough because I felt like Sora was just a set piece, and he didn't really have much of an impact on what was going on in that world. So I wouldn't necessarily pick that. But I also kind of feel that way about a lot of the worlds. Yeah. I mean, I probably would lean toward, like, Toy Story, like, plot-wise, because it was a unique story, right, made for the game, all that stuff. So it felt a little bit more unique overall and more involved with the plot. So, yeah, I mean, I'd probably go with the Toy Story world, too.
Yeah, and yeah, those are all reasons I kind of feel that way. I think that as well as... Because Tangled and both Frozen are Tangled and Frozen. You're essentially just running through the story of the film. Yeah. I did appreciate what they did with Monsters Inc. and Big Hero 6, where they're like, hey, this is actually after the movie, and we're just doing these other things now. So that was kind of interesting too. But just the uniqueness of the Toy Story plot felt really really fun, and refreshing. I was like, wait, this is their own thing. It's almost like just grab these characters, grab Kingdom Hearts characters, and threw them in a pseudo Toy Story world and said, "What's going on?" Yeah. So that was definitely my favorite world. How about your least favorite world, Chris?
I mean, besides the Kingdom Hearts ones, maybe Big Hero 6. Maybe because, like, plot wise, like, I don't know. It didn't stand out. I guess it's really hard to say. Maybe the Frozen one, because that world was really just like a platform for the movie. It felt like
felt like a hour-long ad for the film, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun, and like I was kind of like, what? Yeah. Right when it breaks into the Let It Go song, and it's basically this the scene from the movie with some awkward snow trench, like reaction shots. So like everything else, it was impressive, right? Because it was all in game, and I have to imagine with what they were doing in house was like, this movie looked fantastic. How close can we get to look exactly like this? And it was impressive, right? Yeah. It wasn't as good looking as the movie. Obviously, it probably couldn't be. Yeah. But it came close, and it was pretty impressive. At the same time, they have never just like flat out ripped something from another thing in the past. And it was just like, whoa, this is a dangerous, road to be going.
I was like, wait a second, is this going to happen every time now? And then, no, it didn't, thank God. But yeah, it's exactly that. It felt a little odd or oddly placed. And I agree, it was very impressive. It was really close. You're right, it's not quite the movie. It's close, and it is in game, and that's what makes it the most impressive. But yeah, it just felt so odd. I don't know any way to describe it. I was just, as playing the game, I was like, wait, did I switch to Frozen right now? Am I watching that movie?
I'm going to put my controller down, I guess, for now.
I'm just going to go ahead and watch this.
I'm going to watch Let It Go for the 150th time.
Yep, that's exactly the case. But I was going to say, I agree with you about Big Hero 6 World, too, is it felt the most lacking in plot, actually. Even though the Xehanort Tiny, or the youngest version of Xehanort, shows up in there, and like, oh, I'm here to cause some mischief. It never quite feels like any of it really matters, actually, like, into the overarching plot. And it felt like you went to Big Hero 6 World because that was a new franchise that they got, and they went ahead and just plugged this one in.
Maybe it was because, like, you go to these worlds and you play somewhat of a superhero in each one of those worlds, right? You're like, I'm here to save the day, right? But if maybe it was just awkward because you were joining a superhero world where everybody was already saving the day, and you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna help.
I'm gonna help them save the day.
Yeah. And then it had this weird montage of them studying you like a lab rat.
I'm gonna learn how to fight better from him. All right, that works, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I agree. I think that was one of the weaker worlds, and even as we harped a bit on the Frozen world, it's still actually a pretty fun world overall. Because actually, I was gonna say probably one of my favorite boss fights in the game is the giant frozen or ice wolf thing. Ice wolf Heartless. That came from Hans. I kind of remember him.
It came from within him.
Yep, he was an ice heartless wolf.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool boss fight, and I like the whole aspect of Marshmallow teaming up with you, and that whole thing was kind of just fun. But trying to think some other aspects of that world. Yeah, I guess that was pretty much it.
I found it really funny when you were in that world, and what's her face? Not Marlexia, but
Larxene,
right? She just knocks ice off of a cliff, and she's kind of molding it, but the quantity, she builds this giant freaking maze castle, and you're like, that's not how much ice I saw falling.
Wait, what happened? Did this come from the ground?
Yeah, what just happened? I don't get. Okay, I'm trapped in ice.
And actually, that maze itself,
I'm never getting out of here alive.
Yeah. Sora's dead, guys. Sora, Donald, and Goofy froze to death, and that's it.
There was no food; they starved.
But that maze itself was an interesting mechanic to that world, because that was a unique thing to the world instead of just walking through set pieces from the movie itself. And there's some cool little treasures in it and whatnot, and the whole shifting of the castle kind of felt like a fun mechanic. I spent a good amount of time in there just trying to find things and unlock secrets and whatnot, but just tried to not overdo it. I felt like that was really a side quest that you could easily be distracted by.
I mean, maybe. I'll get into side quests later.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll get into them now. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the quantity of side quests in comparison to the previous Kingdom Hearts games, it felt really lacking, honestly. Yeah. It felt like the Ansem reports were too easy to get, right?
Yep.
Or the mystery reports, secret reports, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
In this one, right? Most Kingdom Hearts games in the past have had multiple secret bosses. It felt like this one had maybe. I mean, I guess you could say this one had 3 if you count the 2 in the Gummi ship world. But other than that, I mean, the secret boss was just the last battle gate, right? And
right.
That type of stuff. And I don't know, it just didn't feel as cool as having the Sephiroth fight or the Neverland fight or the Olympus fights or any of that stuff, right? I miss that. Right? And I feel like that also impacted my desire to go back to Worlds, because it was I felt like I hit pretty much everything in one go in a world, because I didn't just rush through it. I'd take my time and explore, and then I'd get off of it and I'd be like, all right, I think I did just about everything I need to there. I'm just moving on now, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess that's the difference in our playstyles is when I was going through the world, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm catching side quest stuff here and there, but I wasn't going out of my way to look for it at all. If I found it, I did it. But then I always had the intention of okay, I want to make sure I revisit these worlds and just check out these side quests or any of the side quest stuff I need to do. But then, of course, it was one of those things when you kind of get towards the end, you're like, all right, let me just kind of finish up the game. But I did go back. I felt, and like I said, I felt like it added more to the game, and it did give me reasons to go back to the worlds and whatnot. But yeah, you're right. I think if you wanted to just go ahead and do everything in one world, there would be nothing holding you back. It's not like, oh, I gotta wait to get this kind of Keyblade, or I gotta wait to get something else. It's no, actually, I can just
ability, right? Remember in the first one, they had the Trinity abilities.
Exactly.
Right? Something locking you out of something. Yeah. No, I felt like I missed that.
Yeah, it's just it was just, if I wanted to just knock out everything, I can do it right now. Great, it's all gone. Next world, done. Next world, done. Yeah, and I missed that too. Just things that would unlock different things like the Trinity ability, like you were saying. It's felt like a bit of a misstep, I guess, or a missed opportunity from them.
Yeah. Going along those lines, I felt like there were a good amount of new characters in the worlds. The Ratatouille rat does he have a name?
Remy,
sure.
Yeah.
Remy. That mini game, it had some interesting mini games.
Yeah.
Non-interesting mini games were the 50 classic games that they made. I think they went a little overboard.
Yeah.
I think we would have been good with like maybe 5 of those. It didn't need to be as many as we got.
Yeah.
Trying to get the trophy for those was one of the most tedious things I've ever done.
I know,
I had to play each one to some sort of completion, right?
Yeah.
And some of those, I was just like, I don't know what it's going to count. Sure, I'll play all 9 innings of the baseball game.
Oh, man. Those were, they were just...
There were some good ones in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. There were some good ones that had like that real well thought out kind of classic, like I imagine the old Game and Watch type stuff, right? Like there were some good ones in there. But there were also a lot of ones where I was like, why did you make this? This is silly.
Why are you putting me through this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, one of the things about that, as I just kept thinking, playing those games was going to take me away from playing the rest of the actual Kingdom Hearts game. And it's like, all right, I beat a world, let me sit down and just try one right now. All right, moving on, because this isn't the game I really signed up to play. I signed up to play Kingdom Hearts. I think it would have been a cool integration if somehow they could have done it, where they actually allowed you to play it like on a mobile device or something like that.
You could.
You could? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they actually, a couple months before the game launched, they actually unlocked a good chunk of those, some of the worst ones, but still some of them in the mobile Kingdom Hearts game. From the main menu, you could access some of them, like the fishing game, which I wasn't a fan of.
I was going to say, but did it affect your actual gameplay or completion of
No,
the 3?
I think it unlocked a special Keyblade if you did it, but I mean, special Keyblade by what?
The standards.
Design, I don't know.
Yeah. I guess that's the aspect I wish it had was you could have actually played it on your phone and it would have actually affected that, because on like breaks and stuff like that at work, I probably would have just sat there and let me just do this so that I can make sure I get what get whatever is going to be unlocked by completing these things. Because sitting there on my TV watching this go, I'm just like, all right, like there's no music, there's just these little beepy tones and.
Yeah,
I don't know. They weren't my favorite. I could have done without them.
I feel that way about a lot of the mini games. Though, like sledding on Frozen. I was like, oh god. Luckily, there was nothing too time trial-y about it, and getting the high score wasn't too bad. The hard part was collecting all the treasures on that thing, because they were pretty well blended in and hidden in that thing. Same thing with the Olympus level. It took me quite a few tries to actually get the high score in that shield sliding game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, that was for the mushroom.
Oh, yeah. The little mushroom thing. I can't remember what that thing was called. Just the aspects are that many.
I mean, there were some cool mushroom games. Like, I liked. I mean, some of them were really easy. Yeah. I did like the photography one. Yeah, the photography one was pretty cool. One, because it kind of organically used the cell phone that just magically appeared in this universe, and also because you had to actually like take your time in that one. Mm-hmm. There was no rush. It was a matter of like you had to figure out how to get like the best photos and things like the best scenarios. So that felt a lot more engaging to me than a lot of the other ones. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. The Don't Get Hit one was easy. Yeah. The Frozen one, I think, was beat them fast enough.
Yeah.
I guess I had fun on Big Hero 6 one, even though it was pretty simple. The bouncing off the heads, that was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. It was just, it felt like more like a classic like platforming kind of aspect of the game, which was fun. I enjoyed that. I'm trying to remember what the Toy Story one was right now.
Oh, the Vexum Rex video game. I don't know. I didn't get the high score in that one yet. I feel like I'm going to have to do some really gamey stuff to get it, too. It just, I don't know. It wasn't that engaging overall. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that one either. And that's why I was trying to remember. I was like, what's that Toy Story one? I was like, oh, wait. That was that one.
And then the Big Hero 6 had the time trial ones, which
Yeah.
I also haven't finished yet. But those should be simple, actually.
Yeah, they shouldn't be too difficult. Yeah, I guess there was a good amount of side quests. It just felt like
About one per world.
yeah, that's the whole thing. It was about one per world overall in the game. It felt like okay, there's a decent amount to kind of whet your appetite, but not fully satiate you or satiate you, if I can say that.
Oh, another one I did kind of like was the Pirates of the Caribbean mushroom game.
Oh yeah,
the shooting them is like the Galaga type thing. I
one-
like that one. That one was pretty fun.
that one was a lot of fun. I guess on that note too, in Pirates of the Caribbean, actually like leveling up your ship and making it better.
Yeah, I mean it was engaging. It was a little simple, a little easy since most ships you kill with one shot.
Exactly.
But,
it's like just target it right and you're dead.
No, collecting the crabs to upgrade
Yeah.
the ship wasn't too bad. It forced exploration of the islands, which was fun. The boarding the ship mechanic was kind of unnecessary, and I didn't even use it until towards the end, and I was like, "You don't really get anything for this. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing that."
Yeah,
I'm just going to blow the ship up.
It's like that was a lot easier, and then when you actually had a fight in the ship,
But they had some pretty fun like ship abilities, right? The one that like the little whirlpool or whatever shoots you up into the air, and then you kind of come crashing down. That was pretty cool.
oh, that was cool, and I liked how you could kind of control it. You're like, I'm going to fly straight into your ship.
Suicide.
And that was good max damage, especially like when you're actually in the boss fight. What's his face? Cannot remember.
Card guy.
It's like I remember most of the organization members' names, but at the same time, I'm just like,
why?
Why
would I want to remember?
You're just that guy. I've seen you for like 4 games, and I know that, but at the same time, you're like not really a character.
All right, I mean that's a pretty good segue actually.
Yeah.
Talking about some of the characters, let's talk about I guess the overall plot.
Yeah.
More focused on the organization side. Why? I mean, so say what you will about drip drop dripping.
Yep.
It's just literally crazy ending, right? But it was a good cliffhanger, right? It was just like, oh, Xehanort, he's possessing people and making the real organization 13. He's going to be possessing every single one of these and making them basically Xehanort clones. Cool. Guess what did not happen at all in Kingdom Hearts 3? That plot.
I know.
Everybody was just themselves again. It was just like, I don't understand why they set that up if they weren't going to carry through on it. I mean, all the organization members were literally just themselves, right? The same organization members you encountered in 2 and Chain of Memories, and it was just like, okay.
All right. Wait, we've fought in these guys, I don't know how many times at this point. I mean, I guess 3. But it's just like, it feels so like, can you give us someone new? Like, and then when
I just wanted them to carry through with the plot. It didn't have to be someone new. They could have brought back those people, but just emphasized turning them into puppets. They even comment. They're like, oh, he just wants us to use us as puppets or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, but that never happens.
They're too aware. They're not like, well, thinking about Birth by Sleep, they're not like what happened to Terra. Like, Terra gets full possession.
I thought that was what was going to happen to every single one of them.
Yeah, and that would have... I agree. That would have made it a lot better. That aspect would have changed things quite drastically, and you're almost rescuing these people that you previously fought from being possessed by Xehanort if they kept to that plot. But they just kind of let it go.
The organization members, there was Xehanort.
Yeah.
Young Xehanort. Terra Xehanort.
Xemnas,
Ansem. Riku from the past?
Yep, that was Kingdom Hearts 1 Riku.
Kingdom Hearts 1 Riku / Ansem?
Yep. Vanitas
for some reason came back, unexplained. A bunch of the old members, so Marlexia, Lucius, Larcene, Cardboy, Doctor Guy,
Zigbar.
So that's 13. Okay.
Oh, Syx. Wasn't he one too?
Oh, yeah, Syax. Wait, they went over 13 then.
That's what I was realizing. I was like, wait, did they just go over 13 on us?
Because there was also Shion.
Yeah, there was Shion, too.
Also, why?
Why?
Which, okay, we'll get... He says he may address explaining why in a DLC. But, okay, so yeah, they definitely went over 13 in terms of the conflict, it seems like. Well, maybe they didn't count Dr. Guy and a couple of the other ones.
Yeah, but, that's true.
Yeah, so the Riku from the past, I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
All the other ones kind of made sense. I think... I mean, made sense as much as anything in Kingdom Hearts makes sense. That is true. Almost no sense. Shion, I was just like, this makes literally no sense. Yep. But the key thing is like, so I'm trying to figure out, why do you think they brought back like Marlexia, Larxene, all of like those older members that weren't connected to Xehanort? But they hint at it in that one scene, right? Like, these characters, or I think it's Zemnis says, there was a specific reason I recruited you in the first place.
So what I think is, well, this is, I guess, would be predictions for where this is all going. I think this all has to do with the Union Cross, whatever that mobile game is. These old masters who existed long ago. And I think that these people and the specific reasons, and you can kind of start piecing them together if you've seen that movie you essentially watch on 2.8. It's, what's it called? They are, I think they're the counterparts. They are the nobodies to those old masters.
Right.
And I think that's the reason he recruited them. That was the whole purpose of all that. And I think that's kind of what that end scene, or mid-credit scene, I don't remember exactly where it lands.
Towards the end.
Towards the end.
Yeah, whatever.
But that end scene, I think that's all supposed to be like alluding to. Like, oh, now that they're all defeated, they went back to being the originals, and this is going to go somewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that was the reason to bring them back in this game.
Yeah, I was thinking along those same lines, honestly.
Yeah.
It was just they don't ever clarify that that's the case, right? Which is a problem, because it's just like a thread left dangling there. He said that comment, but nobody actually states that that's the truth. Nothing visually points to that, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, I don't know.
I know, it's just...
All right.
I gotta take a moment and breathe, because I'm just thinking about that plot too much.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot to intake there and kind of break down, which leads us into Xehanort's plot, which was finally kind of revealed at the end, where he was just like, he wanted to... overload the world with light to kind of start fresh. Basically, he wanted a big bang.
Yeah, he wanted...
Like, I want everything to start new.
He wanted
no darkness.
Yep. Which, all right, that was his idea here, I guess.
It's like, okay, now you're the anti-hero? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You're trying to save the world by destroying it. Okay, I guess.
Nothing in the previous games led us to believe that was anything close to an objective, but all right.
Nope, I completely agree. That's what it kind of felt. It kind of felt, yeah. It always seemed to hint. Okay, these versions of Xehanort, Ansem, and Xemnas, they're all trying to unlock Kingdom Hearts, and they all kind of had their own reasons are going about it, and then you actually get to Xehanort, and he's like, I'm actually just trying to make the world a better place. And
I'm just like doing it the wrong way, right? And I mean, so then in the beginning, they have in the opening scene like the two boys playing chess, right? I don't know if they were trying to pull one over on people, but if you look at the the journal entry in the game, they're like, mysterious boy in white, mysterious boy in black, right? It's like, that's just Xehanort and
Ericus.
Yeah, like, are you trying to fool me? Like, and then at the end, like, it's some sort of reveal, right? It's just like, oh, he transforms into him. Oh my god, it was Ericus all along.
What? It's like, wait, didn't we know this where this was going? Didn't we know these two characters? Which felt kind of odd because it's one of those things too. It's like, okay, you really had to play Birth by Sleep to get that Ericus and Xehanort even had a relationship in the first place. And so it's like, okay, and that's fine. I mean, maybe because I kind of felt like, honestly, this game itself and the plot and the way they kind of structured it, it felt like they were welcoming of new people to the franchise, period. Like,
which is an awkward thing to do when you're closing out a franchise. You're not closing out the franchise. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts is going to continue, but you're closing out like a story arc, right? It's like, let's really make this accessible or try to make this as accessible as possible to new people. It's like, just do what crazy you've been doing up till now. Just keep doing that and finish this off so people can move on.
So we can move on with our lives. Please just give us the closure we need. And I feel like that was almost for those people, but they definitely weren't pulling one over on us. Like, I guess that was their decision to make, and so be it. It was what it was, but
and Ericus coming out of Terra at the end was also a big scene. And I actually kind of like that scene, but once again, you had to have known, I think, the secret ending of Birth by Sleep, where they hint at the fact that he's still somewhat alive within Terra.
Yeah.
Like, guarding his heart from a full takeover from Xehanort. But actually, I want to rewind a little bit back to the battle on the Keyblade graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
Because if there was one thing in the game I was probably most disappointed in, it was that. I think it was a cool concept to have it like where you break up, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Riku and someone, I forget who, was fighting over here, right? And they're fighting like 3 of the bad guys, right? And the way the game plays it is you go into that area, you fight those 3 baddies with your friends.
Yeah.
You defeat one in the middle of a battle. Cutscene. Stop. Cutscene. Right.
Stop. Cutscene. I just got hit. Cutscene.
like, and then it kind of resets you again. Yeah. But like, it was so jarring, right? Because while you're watching these scenes, you're like, those other 2 people right there, they're just watching me watch like this guy die. Like, what's going on here? That was probably the most disappointing thing because one. And this is a major problem I had with the game, was Sora was the solution to literally every problem in this game.
Yeah.
To the point to where it belittles so many characters. I mean, literally every single fight in the graveyard is Sora comes to save the day, right?
Yeah.
It's literally, okay, Riku, who's one of my favorite characters, and he's supposed to be the better fighter of the 2, right? And you save the day. Oh, you go over to King Mickey, right?
Yeah.
You save the day, right? He was getting defeated by those people. You save him. You go to Naminé and Axel fighting, and they build up Axel, right? And they build up Naminé. Naminé has all these lines throughout the games, like, I'm going to protect you, right? Like hinting, I'm going to protect Sora. Yeah. It's my turn to not be the protected.
Wait, you mean Kairi?
Kairi, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. And then what do? You swoop in and save her. Well,
and
you don't save her.
She gets kidnapped.
Right? But, and then it's the same thing the Aqua fight. That was also really stupid, right? Because you're sitting there, and Aqua is literally in Birth by Sleep. They build her up as a very strong character, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm all for this. I freaking love Aqua. She was my favorite character in that game by far.
Yeah, she was.
And they hint at in this one, right? She's been in the darkness, but she has a really strong heart. It finally kind of overtook her, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're in the fight in Castle Oblivion. Or it wasn't in Castle Oblivion at the time. It had already been transformed back. But to wake up, or against Vanitas to wake up Ventus. And she's like, Sora, let me show you what a real master can do. 5 minutes later, she's getting punked. And it's like, that's what a real master can do? You can end up on the floor? Okay. Well, I'm going to save you, I guess, right? Like, it's one of those things where it got so irritating to me. Because it's like, Sora isn't supposed to be the badass, right? Like, he's not supposed to be that guy. He's not supposed to be the guy that swoops in and saves all the days. Here's what I wanted to see. If you remember the final fight of Kingdom Hearts 2, Xemnas, right? You finally get to the end, you're back to back with Riku, right? And there are all these different things going on. Like, I always remember when you get surrounded by the little laser beams, right? And they're just you're flipping about each other, deflecting, working together as a teammate. There's a scene where Sora kind of gets knocked aside by Xemnas. All of a sudden, you're playing as Riku, right? Yeah. Like, that is how almost every single fight should have gone down in the Keyblade Graveyard. It should have been a very set piece-ish fight, right? Where there are these events that happen where you're not just Sora saving the day, you're Sora teaming up friendship with people, like stressing friendship and having that be more interactive. And then also that way you wouldn't have to necessarily cut in the middle of the fight against multiple enemies to have one person die. You can have it be more organic, right? And have like that type of stuff kind of come through during the fight. That's what I wanted, is more live fight. It felt too gamey, right? It was so much just so strict lines, like start. I could see the events in the code, just like here's where the event starts, here's where it ends, right? Like there was nothing really cinematic about it at that point, which counterintuitive to the combat and everything that they did on that front. It was very jarring, and I was kind of let down by that. Yeah,
I completely agree. I was very jarred by it, and it was one of those things because if you kind of start focusing in on someone, you're like, I'm going to beat the snot out of this person. Well, you might actually beat the biggest person in the room by accident first. And then all of a sudden, oh, shoot, I guess we got to come beat this guy now. And so it's just like one of those things. It was like it just didn't quite flow right. It didn't fully make sense. There should have been more structure to it. I agree. It should have been more of these set pieces. And on top of that, I was thinking about how we played all these characters. Almost all of these characters in this Keyblade fight we had played in various other games. And so it's like, wait a second, I want to be Riku again. I want to be Aqua again. I want to play these characters again because in the other games I played them, and I grew to love them because I became attached to them. I was fighting with them.
I want to be Roxas again with his dual Keyblade thing, right? Right? Like, there were so many opportunities for it to be so cool.
And then it was just like, and now you're just Sora, and he's just the best. And it just didn't quite work for me. The aspect or the fights and the whole setup of it was really cool, but the whole, I don't know. There was just something that really just didn't work.
I mean, okay, so going through it, I think the first two fights, it was just 1-on-3 or 1-on-2, right? I think it was Riku versus Riku clone and somebody else, Zigbar. And then I think it was Mickey versus Card Dude and Marlexia, and I don't know. I can't remember. I can't keep it straight. There's too much going on.
There was a lot going on there.
And it's just granular details that don't matter. But then you get in the later fights, and once again, I go back to the Axel and Kairi thing, right? Like, they've been training. They should be able to hold their own in a fight, right? Axel saves you at the end of Drip Drop Drippin'. Like, that type of thing. Like, they made those two characters just so weak. And I guess it's the same thing with the Aqua Ventus fight, right? These are two characters that I know are not weak. I played as them in Birth by Sleep. I know they're not weak, so why am I swooping in to just save the day, right? Like,
Yeah.
That being said, I did think it was cool when it was revealed that Terra's heart was Ansem's little friggin' dude the whole time.
Oh,
like,
that was pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I like that too. I was like,
I mean, it was completely out of left field, but it was pretty cool.
I was like, what?
Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that aspect too.
And to not just dump on that scene as a whole, I also thought it was cool that as a bad guy, and I hate to say this because I was just saying how disappointed I was that she didn't get portrayed as strong, that Xehanort did go for their weakest link, right? Yeah. He goes, kidnaps Kyrie, and then he has his plan. He's like, you're going to be the last death to create the last key, right? Like, yeah. I thought that was a pretty sufficiently evil thing to do, and I was like, oh, man. Yeah. That's evil.
Yep. I agree with that. And yeah, it does fit. It fits his character. It fits the plot. It just was disappointing, I guess, because I wanted to see Kyrie. I wanted to see the work of all our the payout for all of her hard work and training.
And to be fair, they only ever show her sitting down talking to Axel, so maybe she didn't actually train the whole time. Maybe
that's true. We never even saw Merlin. I mean, was he really there?
Yeah.
Was he just throwing furniture at them again?
Yeah. Like, what type of training was going on here? So.
Yeah, no, and I'll actually rewind a bit because we focused so much on the maze piece, we didn't talk about the two battles that you did prior to getting to the maze.
Okay.
The first one, I thought we were going to get 1,000 Heartless again, but with everything, and it just felt like I can, if you turn on the attractions or you actually use the attractions, I was just like, this fight means nothing. I'm just clicking through things right now.
I mean, I did like the Big Thunder Mountain ending to it, right?
That part was
cool. Like, suicide! I'm gonna wipe you all out.
Yeah. And purposely, since the attractions did do so much, I tried to avoid them as much as possible so I could get the grandiose.
But once again, Wheel of Fate, you're just flipping them out everywhere.
You're just flying all over the place.
Can't touch me without getting hit yourself, fools.
You're all gonna die. And then following...
But no, the other fight. Okay, so there were some cool things in there, right? I thought the arrival of Xehanort, or whatever you want to call him, was kind of cool.
Yep.
I thought it was a little cheap that he was able to just kick everybody's butt.
Right.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about that scene, there's a lot I like and dislike.
Yeah.
I thought, going chronologically, Donald.
Yep.
And Xenoflare, or whatever he called it. What did he call it?
Yeah, I think he said Xenoflare.
Something like that, right? Yeah. That was a pretty cool build-up, right? It was like, Donald, you're not useless.
It's like, you did something awesome.
You just knocked Xehanort freaking dead. You just murdered him.
You just blew him away, man. That was kind of cool. And then the Tower of Heartless thing, that was pretty neat. And then the payout, if you had actually played Union Crossblade or Cross or whatever, and then your name's going to show up on the screen. Maybe. I didn't see mine.
No, it was a contest. Everybody saw the same names, just in different orders.
That's all.
But I guess going more in a chronological order, the thing I didn't like, mainly because I'm such a freaking fan of Riku, and they did nothing but dump on him in this game.
Yes.
I did not like, once again, they had a moment for him to stand up for something, right? And he kind of starts to, right? When everybody else has been wiped out, and Sora's just freaking out of it, right?
Right.
And I forget what Riku says. He's like, this isn't you, or something along those lines, right? And then he walks up to shield him, right? He's like, I'm going to freaking shield you. That was such a moment where it's just like, yes, let him succeed to prove his point, right? Like, let him succeed, but instead, like, he does the exact opposite to where they both die regardless.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay.
All right.
I guess everybody sucks.
I guess Sora's the only one who can literally bring us back from the dead.
Yeah. But stupid scene leads into a kind of cool scene. It was kind of cool when you were dead. Or no, sorry, that was later. But so no, I didn't like that you were then sent to weird anime abstract death land where billions of yourself are running around in different crazy directions and you have to collect yourselves. One thing, I don't know if you talked to all the little spheres. Did you talk to Naminé while you were dead?
Yeah.
Okay, so he makes emphasizes how important it is. He's like, I'm not going to thank you, Naminé, because I'm going to thank you later, right?
Right.
That came back in a big way at the end to me, because he does the exact opposite of what he said again. Where right at the end of the game, he goes off to save Kairi, and then he just disappears. Like, well, he's still not gonna be able to thank Naminé, I guess.
I guess not.
Just a freaking liar over here. Naminé's never gonna get that thanks.
Nope, definitely not. Yeah, that whole aspect. Yeah, I mean. It was just.
And I'm not sure what it even represented, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it represented. Like, I guess Kairi kind of saves him, right, or something like that. I forget exactly what they say, but it's like Kairi kind of saves him, and so now he has to spend the rest of this time collecting himself to a degree to come back to life, and then it brings him back to life a couple seconds before it all went down or whatever, right? And then he's able to kind of make a difference, but not really.
Yeah, because he...
Actually, I don't think anything goes differently other than the arrival of what's-his-face from Union.
Oh, yeah.
He has a name. I forget what it is.
It's been a while since I played that one.
But anyways, also quickly on that note, so in the middle of the game, they make a reference to all the hearts within Sora, right? And as a person that followed the games, you and I, we were probably like, okay, yeah, he's got Ventus in him, he's got Roxas in him, I guess, even though those are essentially the same person. Okay, he's got both of them in, and that makes sense. And then they were like, oh, he's got another heart in there. He's like, dear God, how many hearts does this guy have tucked away? And why?
He's just like a heart storage box.
Yeah, everybody's just, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm just going to go hide out in Sora's heart, I guess.
I know. And it's like, and of course that's supposed to be like the strength of Sora, right? Is his almost unyielding care for people, his unyielding like love, like unconditional, I guess I would say.
But I mean, back to the present, right? Yeah, it was super cool when it was revealed, Mysterious Boy, you're using all the body or all the hearts of those that died during the Keyblade War, right? Like, they're all being summoned for this purpose of fighting the darkness and saving the light and everything. And you're zipping around on the Keyblades, and it was such a good antithesis to the Heartless Tower and all that stuff. And it's craziness. I thought that was a really cool scene, and it was fun just like flying about and slamming keys into things.
Yeah, and then the scene was really cool when you're just using the triangle command, you're bam, 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 just wailing on the thing. But yeah, that felt like a really cool and really climactic and like really like big moment for Kingdom Hearts, which is why I felt like when we get to the next part with the maze, it feels so like, wait, like you could have given us something like that. You could have given us these big grandiose.
I mean, it was nice to see Yen Sid show up too, right?
Oh,
Yen Sid not just sitting in a tower for once. He actually is like, all right, magic, everybody, I'm going to hold him off. Just move forward, right? Otherwise you'll stay here forever. That was, I guess, unexpected. It was definitely unexpected. I wasn't expecting
I was not expecting that either. I was like, wait, I thought you're always just like a guy in the tower NPC, like that's all you did. But.
Obviously a big part of the story, bringing dead people back to life through mannequins. Somehow Naminé gets brought back, somehow Xion gets back, Roxas gets brought back. Okay, so maybe I'm mixed up about this. Very likely I'm mixed up about this. Correct me if you saw it, or you saw it play out differently. So Roxas shows up on the battlefield out of nowhere. I'm under the assumption the heart left Sora at that moment to take the mannequin that was left by Riku.
Yeah.
Because I've also heard that in an even crazier, but still plausible by Kingdom Hearts rules, actually Roxas had been pulled out at the lab on the different planet and then shot back to help.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense because everyone was there. Like, what was it? Yeah, because didn't Evan show up? And he's like, I got another mannequin. He's like, I can help out. And I can't remember.
I don't know. There's so much going on.
There's so much. We could talk about little nuances of the plot of Kingdom Hearts for... Ever. Yes.
I guess getting more towards the end is almost at an hour and a half of talking. get more into the nitty gritty of the end, I guess. I did like that they finally committed to Sora and Kairi as a relationship. That was good. I made a joke actually before the game came out, and I was like, man, I hope in the next series they ditch Disney and they start doing Christopher Nolan worlds and crazy other things like that. And luckily, I guess I didn't have to wait long, because that final world was Inception. It was basically the world folding in on itself and gravity shifting directions the whole time, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't as cinematic as the ending, the fight against Xemnas at the end of 2, which is still more of what I probably would have preferred, because it's more what I expect from Kingdom Hearts.
Right. Yeah.
But I also, the final fight against Xehanort, when he sucks up all the light, you turn into Dark Sora, you kind of just have to survive long enough, right? Which isn't very hard. Mm-hmm. And then you die, right? Or no, I thought it was cool when you do like the final blade thing, and then he kind of overtakes you, right? And then you die. And I don't know how you were playing, but I didn't have like a headset on or anything. So when I was playing, the voices of Donald and Goofy, right? They kind of come to the controller while you're doing it, like calling out to you and everything. I thought that was really cool and impactful. And
yeah, that was a really neat mechanic and cool use of the actual hardware of the PlayStation 4. I was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, this is like a cool little thing.
I love when people use that little mic.
Yeah.
Like Transistor and stuff. I really like when they use it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like,
I don't know what's so cool about it. It's just is like, oh man, it was unexpected.
It makes it feel immersive, even if you're not wearing a headset, I guess I would say. And so that is an aspect I really like about that. And I was gonna say, I actually really like that world itself. I wish I could have explored it versus just being fighting in it.
What was it called? It's something Ad Kaim.
Yeah, it was a very odd name.
Yeah.
But it looked cool. It looked really cool. But yeah, that would have been a cool world to explore based just... we talked about earlier, the verticality of worlds and whatnot. It looked like it would have had a lot going up and down and a lot to do there. But I feel like that's something they're going to save for later down the line here.
Yeah, maybe. Overall impressions of the final fight? I mean...
I thought it was... honestly easy, like the rest of the game was. The only part that I thought was mildly annoying, honestly, was when you had to fight underwater. In general, I wasn't a big fan of that. It was better.
I felt like that was even easier.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It was just I guess that's the whole aspect that I found annoying. It was just like, all right, I'm just gonna mash X right now. I don't even have to worry about moving, really, because I just shoots me straight at him every single time. Mm. And so that's why I felt it was kind of like annoying, because then what do they do to like kind of counteract that? Oh, he's going to teleport. Well, you just have to like...
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be right back. It's like...
He'll be back. He has to hit me at some point.
He'll be back. But I thought overall it was fine. It was just easy in comparison to the other thing. And I like that it wasn't too stagey. Like, it was more like, okay, we're in one spot. I'm going to fight this many guys, and I'm going to fight just this one version, and that was pretty much it. Like, he wasn't changing forms and turning into boats and other weird stuff like that, like in previous versions, but it wasn't
bad. One thing while you're talking, I kind of remembered before we go into the secret ending and the ending, was more on the damsel in distress type stuff. Mm-hmm. So early on, they try to give you a Riku Mickey subplot, and I did not like. I liked that, the fact that they would do that, but I didn't like that it was literally they go to the beach. Riku gets knocked out.
Yeah,
breaks his sword. They both leave after they get rescued by, I guess, Riku living within Riku, which, once again, I forgot about that. Just reminded myself there were too many Riku. As much as I love Riku, there was too many Riku.
Quite a few in here.
Never mind how that Riku flew from out within Riku to take the other. Never mind. But what do? They just get new Keyblades and they go right back and they do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Because then Mickey gets punked. And you're just like, what was their plan?
Yeah, it was like, okay.
What was their plan?
They keep trying to go rescue Aqua. And then, of course, it's like they can't... And it goes back to the same problem that we were talking about in the maze. They can't do it themselves. Sora literally has to come and save the day again.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, couldn't you give them that? Couldn't they just go rescue Aqua at least? I don't know.
One of my friends at work brought up a good point, and I think this would have been cool, is if Aqua had actually been one of the main bad guys that you had to convert at the end of the game, rather than it... Well, I mean, you still kind of only convert her at the end of the game, because once you get her, you're in the final stretch of the game. But... if she had been like their evil in that final fight, right? And I don't know, something like that, where she was more of like playing the bad guy role for a little bit longer, would have been cool. And I agree, it would have been. Yeah,
I agree with that, because it felt like the only reason they did that was to have the scene in the trailer of Aqua being evil and saying, you're too late. It's a real one. Oh no, just kidding. She's evil for like 5 minutes, guys. Don't worry about it.
Sora's friendship pulls her out.
Yep.
All right, so let's get closer to the end here. Let's talk about the ending. What did you like about the ending? What didn't you like about the ending? What?
What I liked about the ending is that it did... I felt like it did wrap up this saga, at least this whole Xehanort thing. It felt like it finally put it to rest, and it said, okay, Xehanort, Amson, Xemnas, all those versions and iterations of himself feel like they're really done. We're not going to mess with them anymore. They're just off doing their own thing. Not existing anymore, I guess. And that was good. I appreciated that we really wrapped that up. I thought the scene at the end was really cool. The first ending credits, or the end scene, is just... everyone's there at the beach. We're all back on Destiny Island. We're all having a good time. It's really cool, too, because you got, like, parts like, Xion, Roxas, and Axel are back together, which was something I actually did enjoy over 358 days over 2 or whatnot. I liked their relationship a lot. I cared about them, and seeing them all back together was nice. Seeing, Riku, Kairi, and Sora all back on the island again, that whole aspect was nice.
Were they?
Were they, though? That's kind of the question, I know. So seeing all of them there, though, supposedly made it feel like, okay, we're wrapping this up. We're saying goodbye to these characters at first. And then, of course, no, we're not. At first, it felt very much like that. And then the cliffhanger of them disappearing, or they show us Sora disappear. So based on the secret ending, we have to assume that Riku's over here disappearing as well, not in the scene. But
maybe,
or maybe he just went. I don't know.
Before we go too deep into the secret ending, my thoughts on the ending are pretty similar to yours. Obviously, I like the song.
Yeah.
So it does some quick wrap up of like Mickey returning home, right? A couple of people returning home. I got a little choked up with Ventus, Aqua, and Terra at their back home again. The little what are they called? The little cat things that starts with a C from the mobile game. It's just kind of hiding. It's like, I just want a friend. And they're like, I'll be your friend, right? Like,
that was cool.
That was good. I don't know why I started getting choked up a little bit on that.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out why Riku went to pick up Namine and they emphasized the hand holding. I was like, wait a second. They emphasized hand holding. Yeah. Why? I don't know about this. Is this a thing?
And it's interesting too because it was like, oh wait, Namine and Roxas were a thing. Just kidding, Xion's alive again, so they're good.
Yeah, I don't even want to go into that. I mean, you, I was happy to see them, Syax, or whatever his actual name was again, Isa.
Yeah.
All being back, eating some sea salt ice cream on the tower. That was good. Then it gets to the beach, and everybody's just having a blast. And then it cuts to Sora and Kairi on the tree, the Paopu fruit tree, and they're holding hands, and you're like, oh, yes, that's right. Right as the swell of the music kicks up, right as it's like, yes, right. And then it cuts to Kairi's face is right after it shows like Sora squeezing her hand, right?
Yeah.
And you just see the single tear roll down. I'm under the impression that Sora never returned. That's my personal opinion on this right now.
Okay.
I don't think he ever came back. I think it was more of just like a silly kind of cinematic illusion, right? Like they wanted to believe that he was there in spirit, essentially.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would she have instinctively cried there?
Oh, wait, he vanished or whatever,
But I mean, I'm sure we'll find out, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that was my opinion. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little misty-eyed during that scene because I think of the music swelling at that time.
Yeah.
It was this really well kind of crafted piece, right?
Yeah, that was
because
really well done.
you think about the scene is just like Riku staring off on Kairi. I assume actually by herself, right? It's kind of like a really sad setting because he's just like, damn it, Sora, why, right? Like, why?
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like the ending overall. Obviously, it's not much of an ending.
Yeah. The ending to that saga and the setup to whatever.
So before we get into the mid-credits ending, let's quickly talk about the secret ending, since that's more likely related to DLC that will actually close out this stuff.
Yes.
Where I think the mid-credits ending is actually more tied to the setup for the next saga.
Yeah.
So the secret ending, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's called something. It has a name.
Yeah, it had a name.
It definitely had a name. Yazoru or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and so basically it does some quick cuts in very high fidelity graphics. Looks like Sora is in a simulation of the real world type thing in Shibuya.
Yeah.
And Riku, for some reason, seems like he's inside the Rexus game or whatever it's called again.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think's going on there?
So, and this is my suspicion here, is that I feel like the main reason there wasn't a whole lot of Final Fantasy stuff or any Final Fantasy stuff was because they were kind of saving it for this. That Sora and Riku and young Xehanort actually says, "Oh, your roll's not over," or whatever, like right before he disappears, and it's like, because he's going back to the past and he's somehow changing things. We don't know exactly what he's changing or how he's changing it, whatnot. But I think that's kind of all linking to the same thing, is that he's gonna have to, him and hopefully Riku, maybe we'll get another kind of Dream Drop Distance type game where we get to play both of them, but I'm thinking they're gonna have to kind of go through Final Fantasy worlds and fix some things and whatnot. And the person who makes a little heart and a shape of the moon, I think I don't think it's Zigbar. I think it's the Master of Masters, that guy, the original thing, and I think that's kind of where this is going. Is they're saying, well, those worlds are all safe and that whole aspect is all safe, but there's still things that need to be taken care of, and Sora and Riku, you're the guys to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I deign to believe. Okay, so just a little backstory on this, I guess. Nomura has stated that they plan on supporting the title through the rest of 2019, hopefully to be completely done by the end of 2019 so everybody can move on to other things in 2020 and they don't end up servicing this game for the rest of their lives. So that leads us to believe that there may be, I think he's mentioned a couple DLC packs, one of which I mentioned kind of earlier, which might go into a little bit of the Shion stuff.
Yeah.
The other one I would assume is tied to this secret ending, right? It would be kind of like, okay, we got to rescue Sora so we can have an actual ending. I think most people online have noted Sora wakes up but in Shibuya, but the number on the building actually reflects that portrayed in The World Ends With You. So they believe he's in The World Ends With You, which would make sense. Did you play The World Ends With You?
Yeah.
Right? He's basically dead. It would make sense that he would be playing these, I want to say, the Shinigami games, or whatever they were called, right? So that makes sense. And then I would have to just assume that Riku's like, all right, I can't just watch Kairi cry on a beach for the rest of my life. I'm going to go save this fool. I'm a Keyblade Master. I'm not completely useless, even though this game
tried to convince you otherwise.
So I assume he goes out. Why he ends up in that game, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see. And I do agree. I think it would be cool if it involved at least some Final Fantasy to it to some degree. Maybe Final Fantasy 15.
Other Square properties, I guess.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
I just don't believe it'll involve a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I do believe the goal would be that would probably be like the final DLC later in the year, and it would kind of be a slightly bigger one that would actually close out the story.
They can call it point whatever they want, I guess.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3.5.
Yeah. 3 epilogue.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last note is that Master of Masters scenes. Zigbar revealed to be Lucio.
Yeah.
Lushu.
Yep.
Whatever they pronounce Luxu. And then the revival of a couple of the masters. I think the Fox Master was the one that was missing.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Was she the traitor in the original one?
I thought she was the one who's given the different book.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And the different mission. So I think I think that's why she didn't appear there. I don't remember who was supposed to be the traitor, actually.
It's kind of a sad thing to not remember, considering that was the whole point of that thing.
And I was like, wait a second.
But I mean, I can't remember it either.
I was like, wait, that was the point of that thing. I guess I just watched.
Or maybe the point was there was no traitor. Is that a thing? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So very clearly, the whole thing's going to be about the revival of the Master of Masters and whatever's in that box, which also leads back to another problem with the main game, which was Maleficent and Pete just randomly showing up very rarely. To hint at things, and you're just like, oh, they're hanging around.
Yep.
Or no, they're not. They're not hanging around. They're doing their own adventure. They're not evil. They're just going on their own adventure.
They're just doing whatever.
Also, I thought it was really funny in the beginning of the game when they're digging up in Olympus, like, Pandora's box. I was like, oh, they're going to use that later in the game? No.
Forget about it. It was just like, wait, what? It's like it was literally a throwaway gag.
I was like, okay, all right. Yeah, but I honestly think that that's going to be the setup for the next saga.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be the end of what they called, I think, the Darkseeker saga.
Yeah.
So whatever saga comes after this, Nomura should be free to not be a part of it.
Yeah.
I believe that's the whole goal here, is to get fresh faces and let people move on with their careers a little bit. Yeah. All in all, I enjoyed the game.
Yep, I agree. All in all, I enjoyed the game.
Could have been better, for sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate my time with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Could have been better. And who knows, maybe this DLC will kind of make a full or complete
I hope so.
game. Yeah, I agree.
I gotta believe.
I gotta believe. Fingers crossed.
Cool, yeah. Do you have any last notes that you wanted to go over? Did we hit everything of note?
Let me make sure I have everything I wanted to say. No, I think so. I think I hit it all on this.
Cool. Well, there you go. If you somehow made it this far in us talking, honestly, make up your own mind. I think this game's more fit for those that are fans of the series than not. Yes,
I agree. If you've played all of the games, great. If you've played most of the games, I still think it's definitely worth playing. I even think if they've only played 1 and 2, you could probably just play this one and be alright. But definitely not the first one.
Play Kingdom Hearts 3, the 12th Kingdom Hearts game in the series.
Yes, exactly the game. Play Kingdom Hearts 3, the 12th Kingdom Hearts game in the series. And I honestly say I don't recommend it for the first Kingdom Hearts game.
Probably. Well, I mean, would you recommend Infinity War as your first Marvel movie?
Absolutely not.
It's awkward to recommend the ending. That's the first thing. Cool. Yeah. So that was a good talk. I appreciate you for being here to do this, because I play a lot of games, and it's there are so many games that come out every year that it is hard to get a group of people like the normal Yum Chunks cast to all get through it. Like, to ask all 5 of us to get through this 60-plus hour game is probably asking way too much. So, honestly, I would prefer... I mean, it doesn't have to be you every time. It doesn't have to be me every time. Just that if we continue this thing going with video games, when people find a game that they like, they can talk about it with another person that hopefully played it. And if there's any games that anybody would like us to potentially review, play, comment on, you could always drop us a line on any of our chats or messages, emails, whatever you deem worthy, because we'd love to hear from you. On that note, let's close out a little looking ahead, I guess. Obviously, games just keep coming. They just keep coming. What's on your horizon, Aaron?
Definitely going to pick up Devil May Cry 5. Haven't gotten around to it yet. But that looks fun and exciting and awesome. Been a big fan of that series for a long time. Beyond that, Sekiro is coming out very soon as well, and that game looks fantastic. And it looks like I'm going to have to get a Switch, because that Pokemon game, Sword and Shield, gosh darn it, I'm going to have to play that. And actually, the Mario Maker for Switch looks
Mario
really fun.
Maker too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are a couple things that I can think of on the immediate horizon that are looking kind of fun and fresh and whatnot. But I'm sure there's games I'm forgetting about way down the line here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what's coming out later. I got that Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon coming out tomorrow. Yeah. I got that on the Switch. We'll see if I ever play that. I'd like to. It's just a matter of finding time. The final Final Fantasy 15 DLC comes out soon. I'd like to play that.
Yeah.
What else was there? Days Gone.
Oh, yeah. Days Gone.
I'm willing to give it a try. Sony's got a pretty good track record with its indies, so I'm sure there's something there that is really standoutish. So I'm interested to give that a try. I don't know. It honestly, it feels kind of like a slow year until E3, which is coming up soonish.
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully they'll review a few things, even though Sony bowed out. I'm sure there's still plenty of third-party titles coming down the line for multiple consoles. So, I don't know. Maybe this is the time they kind of hit the backlog a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. And I know there's some other kind of competitive shooters and whatnot, like Division 2. I know that's getting good reviews, and people are saying it's a lot of fun. I might check that out. Not going to try Anthem because I have a PS4 and I'm scared of it dying. But that game did look kind of cool. But beyond that, it does. Yeah, it feels like a bit of a slow year. I can't even think of like a big title that's coming out at the end of the year for holiday or anything like that.
Yeah, I know Sony, unless they're going to surprise somebody, they don't seem like they have plans for T-Lu 2 quite yet. Or,
yeah, that's true.
Any of their other bigger titles. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is just a third-party type of year.
That's all right with me.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well...
Bye.
This has been
After the Credits.
a Yum Chunks podcast.
Yum Chunks!